Finally, a bit of something to talk about with regards to the Seahawks. And although training camp's not started yet, it's still incredibly quiet and cannot wait for football to return, to have something to watch, to have something to talk about, to have something to write about. It was a fairly eventful week in terms of the throwback unis being revealed, and I think they look absolutely fantastic. I think the Seahawks have done a great job. I think this has been long overdue, that a lot of the fans have been calling for this for some time. And given that the usual jerseys that they use, the usual uniforms that they use are now 10 years old, I think this is overdue. I think this is a great idea, not just from a marketing perspective for the Seahawks, but I think the players just look absolutely fantastic in them. In the new jerseys, I think as a uniform concept, it looks fantastic. I think the only disappointment is they're only going to wear them once this season. I think that for me, I wouldn't care less if they made this a permanent switch and just went back to this colour scheme and this design. You'd have to do things a little bit differently because the logo's changed. And they're not going to go back to the old logo. The logo, as it is now, is tweaked a little bit when they had the uniform changed 10 years ago, because I think it's something to do with the fact that Nike didn't own the colour palette that Reebok owned when they originally changed uniforms. So they had to switch the logo around a little bit to the colours that Nike had essentially made for the Seahawks. And they'd probably have to change that back again and go to something slightly different, or maybe not. You know, maybe you just put the current logo on top of that jersey. I don't know, but it really, it's not a big deal. You know, to tweak the logo a little bit, and the Seahawks logo has been tweaked once before, so why can't it happen again? But this just looks incredibly clean, incredibly fresh. I think the players look great in it, and it's still unique. There are no other teams that use these kind of colours. You know, the nearest thing's probably Detroit, but they don't have any green in their uniforms. You would look at that uniform and immediately think the Seahawks, and I just think it looks better. I think this colour scheme looks better for the Seahawks, and I like the navy uniforms, and I don't mind sort of the luminous green as an accent colour, or the grey that they use. That's fine. I think the current uniforms are fine, but they're not exciting anymore. And they remind me of an era that's in the past. They remind me of sort of that Legion of Boom era team, and that's not here anymore. And it was kind of good that as that era was being created, those uniforms came out and they were there to provide an identity for that group. And prior to that, you know, the first Super Bowl team under Mike Holmgren had the old unis as kind of like their identity, and everything that came before Holmgren's arrival is associated with this look. I think it'd be nice as the Seahawks shift towards, you know, a new era now, if they were to go back to this, or maybe even if they don't go back to it, just wear these uniforms more often than once a game. I just think they look fantastic. I want to see this. I think teams that wear traditional uniforms look better anyway. And it has always been a slight disappointment to me that the Seahawks don't have a uniform that they've always had that is never going to change. You know, when you look at things like Green Bay, for example, you know, they're never going to change. And there's no reason. You don't have to completely stick to that. You can do alternative uniforms. You can mix those around. You can have different looks for different games. You know, if the Seahawks were to go back to these uniforms permanently, there's nothing to stop them, you know, in 2-3 years' time, bringing out a navy blue alternative with neon green accents or whatever. But I don't know. It's just when you sort of see how good these uniforms look, the idea that they're only going to use them for one game this year is a slight disappointment. Like I say, I love these things. I think it's just brilliantly designed. It looks cool. The players look great in it. The players seem to really like them. The fans have been calling for this for a long, long time. I'd happily go with this, and I hope that obviously not going to happen this year, but next year they will use these uniforms more often than not. I do think that, this is part of the reason why I wish they had those traditional uniforms. When you kind of go for the modern look, which is what the Seahawks went for in 2013 when they changed the uniforms again, and what they did when they originally changed their uniforms many years ago at the start of the millennium, a modern look can get dated pretty quickly. I don't think the Seahawks uniforms are dated necessarily, but they don't look as fresh as they did 10 years ago. And that's kind of why having the timeless look is preferable. And I just think this is a timeless look. I think they look fantastic. Can't wait to see them on the field. And when I get over to Seattle for the Thanksgiving Day game, I hope there's going to be some merch left in this colour palette, because I just think it looks amazing. And I think you have to give the Seahawks credit for the way that they've done this. They've not got this wrong. They've handled this with care. They've been really faithful to what these jerseys look like. And I think it's a 10 out of 10. So I suppose the question that I'm asking you guys is, if you were to put the question to me, would I rather have these as the permanent uniform, or would I rather just keep them as an alternative? I'd be tempted to go, I'd rather see these as the permanent. Yes, you have to tweak the logo, but if this was going to be the Seahawks permanent jersey moving forward, I'd be completely fine with that. How do you feel about that? Would you rather keep the current uniforms? How long, if you're going to keep the current colours, just the navy and the green, how many years before the things change again? If you're going to go like that, then I do think you need to freshen the look up. If you're going to sort of be one of those teams that don't have a traditional uniform that sticks around forever, I do think you need to mix things up. How long have these uniforms got left in them? Are we talking another 5 years, another 10 years? If you don't want to move to these permanently, why? Give us a reason why. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just wondering why you wouldn't want to go back to these permanently if that is the case. Just let me know what you think in the comments section. I love them. As soon as I saw them, I thought this is fantastic. And I think the players look great in them. And I think it would give the team a real lift, actually, if this was to like a permanent switch moving forward. So let me know what you think in the comments section. We are sort of very slowly drifting towards training camp. There's going to be a lot more videos, a lot more articles on SeahawksDraftBlog.com moving forward. Actually, over the last few weeks, although I've been very busy with work, this has been the busiest sort of day job period that I've ever known in the summer. I have been able to convert one of the rooms in my house into an office. So there's going to be a new look eventually when it's all finished up. It's going to look very different on the streams and stuff like that. So very much looking forward to getting in there and getting that all decorated and ready for the new football season. Hopefully it will be ready for September for the new football season. And bring it on. Bring on training camp, bring on some talking points, bring on some college football, all on the way. So stay tuned to SeahawksDraftBlog.com. Stay tuned to this channel for all the very best analysis of the Seahawks. Let me know what you think about these new jerseys. 10 out of 10 for me. What are your opinions? Let me know in the comment section. Like the video, leave a comment. I'll see you next time.